Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I have done a video, but I wanted to introduce you. Oh, he just kind of floated up. This is my new child, Cliff. He's really cute. He's about 3 or 4 months old right now. I don't know how old he was when I bought him, but I've had him for I think like 2.5 or 3 months. So this is Cliff. He's very sweet. He just woke up. He's kind of hungry, so if he's like fidgety, that's why. But I just wanted to go over the 5 things you should know before buying a bearded dragon. Since I've had him for 2.5 to 3 months now, I'm honestly not like positive on the date I got him, but I know it was about 3 months ago. But I just wanted to like talk about some things you should be aware of as a buyer, because I know that they call these beginner pets, and I agree with that for the most part, but I know there's a lot of like younger kids or people who can't really take care of them that end up purchasing them, and this happens a lot with reptiles. But I just wanted to go over what you might want to know before you actually buy one. So the first thing is taming them. Cliff he's made extraordinary progress. Up until like a few weeks ago, this was not the way it used to be. He used to not want to be in my hand. He would just be super like not schizo. He was a pretty good lizard. Like, I actually wasn't planning on getting him. I was thinking about getting a bearded dragon, but I went to the pet store and I held him, and he was just the most chill little pet lizard, and I was like, I have to take him, because I'd watched a lot of videos and they were just like not as chill. Like, even as adults they were like fidgety and everything. But I've been holding him every day, and I think, yeah, so sorry, I'm like all over the place. So this was about taming, but he has always been a very good, well-tempered lizard. But it is important because I have literally held him for 10 minutes every day at the least. There's been a few days here and there I've forgotten or like just not been able to, but it's probably not any more than like 3 days out of the 3 months I've had him. I always really do try to hold him and let him get to know me, and I've just started to kind of let him wander around because he's been really good. He's not like trying to get away from me, so he likes me now, and we go on drives together, and it's pretty cute. But that is something you have to think about with getting one, because they are sweet, and you can find sweet ones like he was as a young baby lizard, but you do have to like hold them every day or they're not going to be tame or used to you. So that's my first thing you should know. The second thing is feeding. It's another thing where I'm like, I know it's a beginner pet, but honestly it's hard. Like, if you are a kid, if you're busy, if you don't, I don't know, have the finances or the time to make sure that your baby lizard is eating as much as he has to, or as well as he should be, or as many nutrients and as much calcium as he should be, that's really important to their health. So as a baby, you're supposed to feed them about 3 times a day, and you should be feeding them as many worms as they'll eat, which can get pricey. I also found that out. The worms I get him usually are like $5, $4 for about 50, and usually a lot of them are dead when you get them, and he's a princess or a prince because I spoil him, but he likes the live ones. So like, if I'm giving him live ones and dead ones, he doesn't prefer them. You can feed them dead ones, but usually they're not as excited about it. They won't eat as much of them because they're not moving. And I don't know nutritionally if they're better or worse, but that's just what I found in my experience, is that he'll eat more if they're live. So as a baby lizard, you want them to eat as much as they can. So that has been better in my experience. And then also with the nutrition, you have to make sure they're getting calcium. You have to make sure they're getting water, which is hard because they don't just drink water. I spritz his nose with, like, I have a water mister I got from the dollar store, and I just do that in the morning, and he'll like lick, you know, the water off his nose, and that's a good way to keep them hydrated. Also giving them baths regularly. Every time I shower, I just also, after I get out of the shower, give him a little 10-minute bath so that he can absorb some water. Sometimes he like drinks it, but if you just have a water bowl, it's kind of unnecessary. I have one in there. It can bring up the humidity of your tank, which is actually dangerous to the health of your lizard in some situations. I don't ever leave enough in there or have the tank hot enough where it's too much of a problem, but I do leave it in there just in case he needed water or something. But you do have to care for the water they're drinking. And this kind of leads into my third thing. I'll go back to that. But the third thing I wanted to bring up is tank size. I didn't realize, I mean, I'd done research online about what tank size they needed. Right now he is in a 10-gallon, which is very small for him. When I got him, remember, he was like a little baby, so it was okay. And I knew that I'd have to upgrade as soon as it got too big for him, or I'm sorry, too small for him, and he got too big for the tank. And so it was Black Friday. By the way, if you're buying a lizard or reptile tank, I totally recommend to go to PetSmart on a Friday, or I'm sorry, Black Friday, because everything was like, so I got a 40-gallon tank. Originally, they're usually like $350, and I got it for about $120. So it was a good deal. I did get him a 40-gallon tank. I'm planning on moving him into that, but it's a huge tank. Like, I'd never seen how big a 40-gallon tank really was, like in my room or anything like that, but oh gosh, it is a huge tank. And so think about spatially if you're able to keep a lizard in that big of a tank, because from what I've read and seen, they do really, like, they get huge and they really need the tank size. They like to have their space, but it's a lot. Like, a 20-gallon looks like I was expecting the size of a 20-gallon, thinking it was a 40-gallon, but a 40-gallon is double the size. So it's a big tank. Just be prepared for that. And the price of buying a tank that big, typically, again, $300 to $350. Then I wanted to talk about vet bills, because I had watched a few of these videos myself, like what to know before buying a bearded dragon, and I was like, they mentioned, oh, you know, remember, you have to go to an exotic vet if there's anything wrong, or you have to pay in a really expensive vet bill, or you're gonna have to take him to the vet. And I was like, I'm never gonna have to take my lizard to the vet. Like, I hardly take my dogs or my cats to the vet, and I don't know, I just have one lizard. Like, I don't think it's gonna get sick, blah blah blah. Well, he just this week, like just 2 days ago, he hadn't gone to the bathroom in a long time, and I figured it was impaction just because he normally goes to the bathroom pretty often. And so I went to the nurse. Like, I had to eventually go to the doctor. I tried all the at-home stuff, none of it was working, and they gave him a laxative at the vet, and sure enough, he had a giant turd. But it was expensive, and the exotic vet bill, it was really, really pricey. So I do recommend, if you have a lizard, it's not a fish, it's going to require a little more effort financially than that. I do recommend that you just have some money set aside before you purchase one, just in case you have to go to the vet. Like, I'm gonna start saving for another vet trip just in case he ever has to go again. They did send me home some laxative in case that happens, so I can just give it to him in a syringe at home. But there is the case that he could get parasites or stuck shed or hurt himself, you know, so you always want to make sure that you have some money, because I didn't think I'd be attached to him as I am, but I saw that he was like in pain and acting weird, and I was like, I gotta get my baby into the vet and pay all the money, even though it was a lot of money. But yeah, so I do recommend that you put aside some money, because you probably likely within their whole lifespan will have to go to the vet once for them. So that is my personal advice. And the last point I had is that they're just amazing pets. And I had never had a lizard. I'd never held a lizard before I got him. But again, as I said, when I went to the pet store, I was like, instantly we had a connection. And so I got him. And even after that, like, I liked him, but we didn't really have a bond or anything, I wouldn't say. But within the last month, like, I really, like, he just chills in my hand, he chills on my chest while we're driving, he likes to sit in my lap, he likes to hang out with me, he likes to cuddle. I know it sounds weird to say my lizard cuddles with me in bed, but when he gets tired and like I'm laying in bed, I'll put him on the sheets and he like burrows and sleeps like right next to me. So it's pretty cute. Like, not that I sleep in the same bed with him, because I would crush him in my sleep. I always put him back, but if I'm like watching a movie or something. Yeah, so my advice is, honestly, he's a really great pet. If you're thinking about getting a bearded dragon, I totally recommend it, as long as you just have that time to devote and dedicate to spending time with them, holding them, and feeding them properly. But that's all. That wraps up my 5 things about my bearded dragon, or bearded dragons, that you should know before buying them. And if you guys want to see any other videos on him, I would love to do that. I noticed that the content wise, it didn't really provide that much on YouTube, or I couldn't find that much on YouTube. So if you are wondering about how to take care of your bearded dragon, or anything else bearded dragon wise, let me know, and I'd love to make a video on it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye.